I'm John Buchanan. Now, of course, when it comes to beat programming, we are spoilt for choice, whether we're Logic users or we work in any other workstation for that matter. The amount of drum sounds that are available to us is kind of infinite. We have within Logic Drum Machine Designer, we have Ultrabeat, we have Drum Synth, we could make electronic sounds out of other synths, we could do all kinds of things. And of course, if we work with third-party plugins, then of course the number of sounds that we have available for drums is sort of infinite, I guess. But sometimes what can be really nice is to enhance drum programming with sounds that are outside of the drum universe, but maybe used alongside drums to do some interesting things. And what we're going to do in this episode is to explore the idea of some kind of found sounds and to see how we can use a couple of techniques to make those found sounds become part of a kind of rhythmic framework for our tracks. What I have done is to program a little basic beat pattern using a kit called Supernatural for Drum Machine Designer, which I've tweaked a little bit. I've detuned a couple of samples, but fundamentally it's playing a pretty straightforward sequence, a kind of half-time thing, because once again I've selected an ambitiously high tempo, but worry not, really everything's happening at half that speed. So really what we've got is a 1-bar sequence which is just happening round a few times. Okay, so far so straightforward. So what do I mean by found sounds? Well, of course anything could enhance these beat loops. I could go out and make some recordings of anything I liked, and some of those sounds might be percussive. I could record car doors slamming, or I could go to the kitchen and record knives and forks and little things that I could tap and hit. I could turn those into sample instruments, and what we could do would be to bring those in as extra percussive sources, maybe doubling the snares with a collection of different sounds. That's a really interesting way to work. But what I'm kind of talking about in this context is sounds that are from somewhere else and which have a kind of sustained quality, something which are just going to sort of hang around as a texture. And in particular, what I want to do is to start with the sound of rain. I know it's immediately going to add a sort of melancholy, isn't it? But nevertheless, I think we can do interesting things with rain sounds. So I'm going to come up to the loop browser, and what I'm going to do is I think press the sound effects button, and then I'm going to search for sounds which include the word rain, which of course then also brings up some trains, for the word rain is inside the word train. You always learn something new on this channel. Okay, so what we're going to do is to start with some hard rain. Sort of feels like the next sound should be called umbrella, but of course I'm just, ignore me. Some thunder this time too. Definitely the next sound should be called Get Indoors, maybe. Anyway, this sound I think is interesting because it isn't just producing the kind of white noisy hard rain sort of a thing. We've got some other textures within this sound that are kind of coming and going, i.e. the thunder sound. And as a result, what we've got is a kind of evolution, something that's unpredictable, it's moving, it's changing, it's got different elements to it depending on where we are in the file size. In the file. I'll just leave it there. Okay, what I'm going to do is to drag and drop this into my project, and there's going to be way too much of it. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening, which obviously goes beyond bar 13, which is where my track stops. And I can see that the kind of loudest, busiest bit is sort of here. I'm going to ignore all of that section. I'm going to go for this kind of sustained bit, which is happening over here. And what I'm going to do is to drag this to the start of my project. And it's sort of nice that looking even at the waveform, there are some different things happening at different points. But certainly what we've got now is a start point, which isn't fading in. It's just going to come in nice and hard. Okay, what I'm going to do next is to chop this so that it's exactly the same length as the other sequences that I've got within my track. And what's going to happen now is that I'm going to run my beats and my thunder together, and I'm going to press play and we'll see what happens. The And there it is, the mix is finished. Thank you for watching. No, obviously not. It's obviously far too loud. But isn't it interesting how we pick out little moments? This little section at the end, there's a kind of little syncopated thing that's happening in the beats and the thunder. Is that just me? It sort of feels like a da-ga, ba-bum is happening right at the end. Music. Sometimes it comes from rain. Okay, so obviously things are too loud, but I also don't want this text to just be a thing that plays from start to finish. I want it to be something that kind of comes and goes with the beat. And the way that I'm going to achieve the effect that I want, firstly, is to kind of set an overall level for it. I want it to be quiet, just a kind of barely there sort of presence within the mix. Let's turn it down sort of 9 dB. And when I say 9, what I really mean, it turns out, is nearly 18. That's fine. And then what I'm going to do is to come up to the automation lane. So I'm going to press A, open up the automation lane, and obviously I need to not be in scissors mode, but instead to have my pointer tool available. And let's close down the editor at the bottom so we can just see this nice and clearly. So what I want to sort of do is to use automation to create some sort of patterns to this, where little bits of this file get to play where I want them to relative to the beats. So what I mean by that is, let's suppose what I wanted to do is to make sure that this kind of little sample is playing on this first kick drum, but then it sort of vanishes. It's going to fade away quite quickly. The next thing that sort of really happens within this beat loop is that I've got snare and clap combination, which is happening on beat 3. And it would be quite nice if this collection of sounds came back in for beat 3, but in between those 2 points, I just want it to be silent. So what I've done is to drop this. I've got a little fade on the front, so we're going to get a little bit of the file that kind of plays, and then it's going to fade away, and then it's going to ramp back up for beat 3 where the snare plays. And maybe what I'm going to do there is to drop it away to beat 4, but not all the way to silence. And then maybe on the last little 16th note, what we'll do is to have it ramp back up again to the next downbeat, and maybe that can just be a tiny bit louder. And then maybe what we'll do is to have it ramp away a little bit more quickly. We'll have a little bit of something that happens into beat 2. And you can begin to see that all I'm really doing here is just varying the levels so that the volume of this sound is going to sort of come and go, following the grid lines of the sort of drums overall, but just doing something a little bit different every time. And if I want to, of course, I can go even further, maybe getting out the automation curve tool, adding curves at various points just to make the sort of shapes of these be different every single time. And sometimes we can use a concave shape and sometimes a convex one. Okay, there we are. So what we've got now is a little bit of pattern from a sort of volume perspective, where the volume is going to come and go. It looks like I'm trying to create a marker, and I'm really not. All I really want to do is to loop around these first 2 bars. Let's have a listen to how this sounds now. I really like that. It's almost like a kind of weird little vinyl thing. And of course, it's not vinyl, it's rain and thunder. But nevertheless, what we've got is this kind of texture that's just enhancing the beats. Just to remind you what it sounds like without it. Now what I could do next would be to kind of keep this shape by copying it to the next 2 bars. Let's do that now. I'm going to select all of this automation data, all of these individual points, hold down Option, copy the first one, and just be really careful where I drop it. I tend to find this happens in Logic every once in a while, that even though I'm holding down the copy button, actually what's happened is it's just moved that automation. I really do want to copy it, and for some reason, only every once in a while am I actually allowed to. Sometimes perseverance is key. So I didn't let go of Option. The first 2 times it didn't work, and the 3rd time it did. Go figure. But now what I have got is a new collection of points. And the advantage of copying it is, of course, I can now create some variations. So not only can I change the heights of these things, obviously I can just decide that I like my overall kind of pattern shape, but I want the sort of offsets to be different in this second repeat. And as a result of that, it's just going to be a kind of unique little moment. Let's see whether or not I get lucky enough with copy this next time round. Doesn't look like it, does it? No, at the moment I'm just kind of playing tennis with it, batting it backwards and forwards, even though I've got my Option button held down. It just really doesn't want to do it, which is kind of annoying. This time I'm really not getting lucky at all. And now suddenly it works. If anyone does know why that's the case, that would be kind of useful to know. Otherwise, you never know who's watching. Okay, so what I've got there now is, again, a kind of repeat of the pattern that I've kind of created. And again, very quickly, by moving some points around, what I'm in a position to do is just, again, to create some variations. So the idea here really is to kind of bring a noise element using something which is completely outside the drum universe and making it a kind of textural thing. And as a result of the fact that the automation is locked to the grid, it does provide us with this kind of rhythmic pattern, which is constantly on the go. I do like that little bit of thunder that just comes through at the end. Thunder all through the night. There we are. I'm going to just make a little bit more of that by just making sure that the volume doesn't sort of just drop away quite as much. Okay, so that's our first little layer. Now, I can't get past the fact that obviously when I searched for rain, we also got train. Okay, so a sound like this is really interesting because it's got a kind of rhythmic element to it. I'm just going to put all of these little noise loops together up here at the top. And what I'm kind of interested to do is to see what happens when yeah, see, look at that. We've got a nice little rhythm thing that's kind of happening there. It's building to that point. Again, we don't need masses of this. Let's have a look. Sort of feels like it's in time. That's the interesting thing about putting anything with any sense of rhythm up against something else, even though it's kind of not, it sort of feels like it is. And I think, again, we can use automation to enhance that. So I'm hearing a kind of dum-dum, digga-ding. So again, if we were to make sure that we preserve this first little bit of sound here, drop the volume away considerably here, and then maybe have it drop away again there, build back to beat 3 where our kind of snare clap combination is, and then maybe have it fade to the end, although I like the look of what's happening here right at the end. Let's see what happens if we decide to have it sort of fade back up again at the end. That is quite nice. It's all quite loud. I'm going to use the trim tool to just bring the automation levels down. So this is just volume automation, just providing a kind of volume offset for these things. Again, what else was happening in the train world? It's like revisiting my youth. Any minute now, I'm going to get my train set out. I like that bit on the end. I do like that bit on the end. What's that going to do if we put it right in at the end of this little bit of rhythm? Let's see if we can, again, find something which is just going to enhance the beat loop a little bit right at the end. Let's close this down. There is actually going to be enough trains, isn't it? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to have a quick look at where these little moments fall relative to the beat that we're sort of programming. And I'm just wondering about these little bits of transient and where they sort of come relative to everything else. And it looks again like we might be sort of really lucky in terms of how that feels like it's going to fit rhythmically. Here are the last few bars. I think that's going to be really nice. Again, let's put a little fade on the end, and of course, overall, it's too loud. Now, one thing I am sort of thinking is that whilst the rain effect is nice and it's doing some interesting things, again, timbrally, it's kind of pretty static. Yes, every once in a while, we get a little bit of thunder, but what I want to do is to sort of have that evolve and change a little bit as well from a sort of timbral point of view. So what I'm going to do is to come and find the AutoFilter, and I'm going to select a square wave, a random square wave, and I'm going to just make sure that every, let's say, quarter notes, we get a different sort of output level from the LFO. I'm going to feed a little bit of that into the filter just so this shape is going to go to work on exactly what the cutoff frequency is doing. I'm using a low pass filter, which means that we're going to cut out bits of high frequency content. We'll always have the low end, and every once in a while it will open up and other times it will close. I'm not going crazy with it from an amount point of view, so just a little bit of kind of tone shaping. And with the beats. I think I want that to happen just a tiny bit later. I'm going to put that in on beat 3. And yes, that means it's going to last off the end of the loop, but that I think is going to be okay. Now, I think we can just keep going with sounds like this, finding little noises, things that are just going to come in and enhance the mix in different ways. But of course, as always, it's always going to be a question of how these things sound against other musical elements. So let's just see what might happen if we put these beats in against a little sequence part and some bass too. Really should put a longer reverb on that sequence sound. Lesson learned. Okay, so as you can see, there are, as I said at the very beginning of the episode, so many ways in which we can bring sort of detail extraness to the beat programming that we do. And the temptation always with beats is to go and find more drum sounds and make rhythms more complicated. Every once in a while, it's nice to kind of think outside the box a little bit and to imagine different ways of being able to enhance patterns. And volume automation, when used in this way, with the idea of being able to switch it on and off, is a really nice way of just being able to take a sustained sound and have it just kind of dance alongside whatever the rhythms are doing. And of course, we can then have fun with all kinds of sounds. And if you're not a train enthusiast, other kinds of sounds are available too.